Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Be Better podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Perkins. Today's episode is called Be Better with Your Journey. What is Be Better podcasting? Be Better podcasting shares knowledge from fascinating people to pop culture. You are encouraged to glean the content to be better in the world. Okay, let's get to it. We have a great guest, Mr. Judd Wagner. Judd, thank you so much for joining me. How are you feeling today?
I'm excellent. Thank you for having me. It's great to see you again.
Great to see you, and again, thank you for your time and effort. We are going to tag team this and share a lot of knowledge in regards to how we successfully reached age 50. You're 50. Welcome to the Nifty 50s. As of
Yep.
2 weeks ago, and then I am 54. I've been here for 4 years. So let's share together with the audience our experiences and help them get to age 50 successfully. All right, let's start with the $1 million question. Please tell us your elevator pitch of yourself. Who are you?
All right. Well, a little bit about me is I'm a family man. I'm married for over 20 years. I've got two children. They're both teenagers, which makes me persona non grata in my house, which has its perks and its drawbacks, but that's every parent's issue to contend with. Um, Professionally, I've been in the financial services industry. I'm a certified financial planner. And for the last almost 30 years, I've been a frontline advisor working with clients, helping them map out what their future looks like, helping them save and invest for their ultimate retirement, children's education, things like that. And it's been incredibly gratifying as I am forced to learn things to help my clients. I'm also, of course, learning things for myself. So it's been a great career path for me, and can't say enough great things about it. So
Very good. What are the great things that happened to you so far in your life, and what are the uh-ohs that you want others to avoid?
that's a great question. So, well, the first thing is I did a great job marrying my wife. She kind of keeps me centered. She kind of knocks me down a couple of pegs when I need to. And I think it's really important to have someone that kind of checks you on when you are straying off of the path. If you have someone in your life, if you have people in your life that are kind of the equivalent of kind of yes men who just constantly either coddle you or tell you that, oh, it doesn't matter, you can't make any mistakes, you're perfect as you are, well, you tend to end up making bad mistake after bad mistake. So, again, having someone who will speak to you truthfully and respectfully, and then work with you to kind of work through your challenges. We all have them. That's probably the number one thing, is having a truly trusted and valued partner in life, someone that kind of elevates you and allows you to learn and grow, and also doesn't necessarily hold your mistakes against you, at least for too long. That's probably the number one thing that I think has allowed me to get where I am today. The other thing I think is a pretty no duh type of epiphany. Stay healthy. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And I'm at the age where I've got friends and colleagues that have had heart disease, that have had strokes, that have had cancer. Some of them have passed away, whether it be from drunk driving, alcohol consumption, just bad lifestyle habits. Those are all the things that in your teenage years, and certainly in your 20s and even into your 30s in many cases, you think, oh, I've got plenty of time to catch up. I know I'm eating, a pizza 4 times a week, but it'll be fine. This little beer belly, it'll go away eventually. And then you turn around and you're 50 and you realize that, wow, it never went away. And now you're kind of stuck with it. It's really hard to dig out of that hole. So keep yourself healthy. It's not difficult, um, but it is something you need to be consistent with. So staying healthy as much as you can, regular exercise, good sleep, and not a lot of junk food. That's probably um, also the best thing in a nutshell that I could share with folks that are looking to make it to 50 with relatively few complications.
I love your words, appreciate them. You're correct. When you get that belly, which will be your battle throughout your lifetime, you think, okay, when I get to a certain age, I can just work it off. But remember, it took a lifetime to get that belly, and it doesn't take 2 weeks to get rid of that belly. It takes, some motivation. Then that motivation expires, and then you need discipline to kick in. So it's going to take a while to get rid of that belly, or to get rid of that diabetes, or that high blood pressure, or that high cholesterol.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
your words are on point, where what you do when you're younger impacts you when you're older, and it's harder to get rid of. So excellent words. I would like to add, time is a big thing to consider. None of us are guaranteed the next 5 minutes. And the younger generation seems to think they have all the time in the world, but you and I can attest that, boy, getting to 30 came quickly, getting to 40 came quicker. In 50, we're just like, what? How fast did this come? So life comes at you really fast. Another thing is how you think. If you're thinking negative, you can't live a positive life. So you got to really grow with that personal development piece by reading books. On YouTube, there's plenty of personal growth experts to help you get a growth mindset. And then lastly, people. If you really want to know where you're going to be in the next 5 months, 5 years, check the people you're hanging with. There's a thing called the law of the group by psychologists. And if you hang with
Hmm.
negative people, you're going to be negative. If you hang with crackheads, you're going to become a crackhead. If you hang with positive people, you're going to become positive. So
Yep.
excellent words. I really appreciate your words. What specific areas, things in your life will you be focusing on beyond the age of 50?
I think that now that I'm at the age where I'm at the tail end of my career, obviously, inevitably, there will be some health ailments that will creep in, as they do for everyone who gets to a certain age. Um, Focusing more on my health, and really enjoying the last few years I have with my kids while they're around. Eventually they'll be off to school, or off to a trade school, but living in their own household. My daughter's 15, my son is 13, and while it seems like I've got years and years with them, I really don't. It'll go by in a flash. So my career, as weird as it sounds, now that I'm in kind of my peak earning years in my career, uh, the career isn't as important as I thought it was. It's actually really my health and my family, my kids. Honestly, it's my kids and my wife mean more to me than my entire career. I've seen how people in the office give it 110% all the time. And then for whatever reason, they move to a different department, or maybe they quit, or whatever happens. People forget about them in 30 seconds. Like, you think you're having this monumental impact to all the people around you, and you do while you are there. But the moment you're gone, they don't think twice about you. I mean, they really don't. And so giving your all to an organization, while you do need to give your best, because that helps you provide for your family, it provides a sense of self-worth, and it does allow for professional growth. Looking back, my career is not as important as I thought it was. It's really my family, and I hope to give the last few years I have, especially with my children, I hope to give them as much attention as I think they deserve.
Excellent, excellent point. People go into their careers in their 20s and 30s thinking they have to make all this money. And money's important. You need money to survive and live a certain lifestyle. But I think what hurts them sometimes is they want to chase the money so much that their family is down here. And,
Yes.
they have to do this. So you don't miss those games your kids may be in. You don't miss those spelling bees. You don't miss those important parent teacher conferences, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm sure you and I, if I could speak for you just real quickly, we're asking people, don't forget about your family. Family is very important. At the end of your days, your money's not going to be there, but your family will be. So very good points.
Yeah, yeah. In just to dovetail on that, in doing what I do, being a financial planner, an advisor for almost the last 30 years, I get to talk to a lot of folks that are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and sometimes even in their 90s, if they have the health for it. And these are people that have the ability to kind of look back across their life, and it sounds a little cliche, but not one of them has ever said, "I wish I spent more time in the office. I wish I worked on that one additional case if you're an attorney. I wish I saw that one additional patient if you were a doctor." Um, without fail, the biggest concerns are, I wish I had more time with my grandson, or I wish my daughter would come visit me more. And these are people that have, in many cases, millions upon millions of dollars that they can never spend, they never will spend, but they spent their lifetime chasing that almighty dollar. And at the end of the day, like you said, it doesn't mean what we think it means. We think it means something, and it does to a certain degree. And for everyone, that threshold is different. But for most people, the really wealthy people, the people that are wealthy and well centered, the money is an afterthought. It's all about the family. And that's really what I've heard again and again and again. And as a young man, being myself chasing that almighty dollar, you don't understand. You're like, you're just, foolish old man. You don't know what you're talking about. And then now here I am. I'm the foolish old man. And you realize that, hey, those folks, they had a lot more to offer and a lot more insight that I really wish I listened to when I was younger, when my children were younger. I wish we did more of those vacations and things. So again, what's really important in life, as you said, it's money to a certain degree, because you cannot turn your back on that. You need to have some level of financial security. But once you reach that, it really does come around to personal relationships, and that for most people, the personal relationship side is your immediate family. So
So, audience, you heard it from Judd and now from me. Money's important up to a certain point, but it's not what you should be chasing in life. Please listen to that point. It's about family, it's about moments. Find that balance, please. What would you say? Because when people are younger, we tend to be more selfish, and I get it.
mhm.
We're trying to get that first apartment, that first house, that first car, that first boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. So we're a little bit selfish. We want to get our stuff. So that's understandable. But there comes a point where we transition from selfish to selfless. So what
Mhm.
advice would you have for those people in that sweet spot, ready to make that transition to selfless?
It is really hard to make that transition, and I've made that transition, thankfully, many years ago. You have to have faith that most of the people that you work with will treat you fairly. Every once in a while, someone's going to take advantage of you. They're going to take advantage of your skills, your time, your assets, whatever it happens to be. Um, but if you remind yourself, and it almost has to be like a mantra, something you repeat to yourself again and again and again, sometimes many times throughout every single day, is most people are good people. If you ask for help, even a stranger, if you ask for help, they will likely give you some kind of help. We need to keep that in mind. And we need to know that often what we get back from people or from the universe, without getting too hippy dippy on this stuff, but what we get back from the universe is sometimes disconnected from what we offer to the universe. There have been many, many times that I have given away my knowledge, my skills, my time, my effort to people and clients that discounted it, dismissed it, did not give me anything in return. But every once in a while, you get that back tenfold. And you have to get that back tenfold at least once or twice to go, you know what? It's okay if I get taken advantage of, my time, my effort, my knowledge, what have you. It's okay to get taken advantage of one or two or three times, because I know, again, this goes back to faith. I know that if I keep doing the right thing at all turns, eventually I will be rewarded, whether it is financially
Yes.
rewarded, whether it is emotionally rewarded, whether it's just a sense of accomplishment, of professionalism. Without going back to what I do for a living too much, when I'm on the phone with a widow who recently maybe lost their husband, the husband maybe did all of the financial stuff, and I'm on the phone with them, they don't know anything, but all they know is that they trust me, and that I can help them navigate one of the most emotionally devastating parts of their life. and work them through that, incredibly gratifying. That is someone at their most vulnerable emotional state. And I'm able to provide that comfort, that guidance, and help them work through it so that they can emerge on the other side. They would still rather have their spouse, but they can emerge on the other side with minimal damage or scarring. And it's that kind of reward that I'm talking about. It's not necessarily just financial, but it's that kind of reward. I always want to treat people the way I want to be treated in my most vulnerable state. And that's hard because sometimes when you see someone in a vulnerable state, you want to take advantage of them. And I don't say me or you, but in theory, that's where people go through the obituaries and see who passed away, and then they start to see who's left and can you get any money from them. It's really crazy, but that stuff really does happen. Insurance salespeople, etc. Not that there's anything wrong with insurance, but that kind of stuff happens where people do get taken advantage of. So knowing that I can provide that comfort, that's the kind of return from the universe that I'm talking about, which in many cases is so much more important than the financial rewards that you can glean from doing the right thing from everyone that you meet. So again, there's a balance there, but certainly the emotional reward of knowing you're doing the right thing is, to me, especially now at my stage in life, that's way more important than worrying if I can make a buck off of the situation.
If you dive into the happy research, it will tell you fact, money does not make you happy. It's a temporary pleasure, but it will not make you happy. Things that will make you happy, positive relationships are number one with lifting your spirit to be the happiest. Right behind it, service to others and giving back. So great job.
Mm-hmm.
The world, talking about happy, the world seems to be a lot of division in the world, a lot of fear in the world, filled with dislike, etc., etc. As an experienced person, what words of wisdom uh, would you have for others? Would you like to share with others?
I think with some of the really wackadoo stuff that seems to be going on, uh, I've got a couple things I would share. First, I would say stay off of social media. It's garbage. It's absolutely garbage.
Garbage.
You're getting the worst of people. Two things is happening. You're getting someone's gut reaction who's trying to just get at you. And you're also, when you look at pictures of people at parties or on vacation, what you don't realize is that you're looking at their highlight reel. That's like the best. And then you think to yourself, well, gosh, they're on vacation again and I'm just going to work. Well, actually, maybe you're going on your vacation next month or next week or what have you. So comparing someone's highlight reel to your day to day, I think mentally is really bad. But even beyond that, you're allowed to have an opinion, but you don't have to share it with the world because frankly, nobody cares.
Oh,
And
nobody doesn't.
yeah,
No,
and they don't. And all it does is it invites angst and scrutiny and into your life, which does you no good. And there you hear about all the time people popping off on social media, making a snarky remark, thinking they're being funny. And the next thing they know, their employer gets a hold of it and they're fired. So it really is. It's one of those things. If you're not willing to share that opinion in a room full of professional colleagues and family members, you should not be sharing that opinion. Full stop. Just full stop. So, yeah, stay away from social media. That's probably the number one thing I would say, um, because people that we think are so different from us really aren't, and it's okay to have a different opinion. In fact, this country is founded off of people having different opinions, respecting different opinions, but having a like-minded approach of saying it's okay for you to be different. I accept you for being different. I won't infringe on you. You don't infringe on me. But instead, we get this whole tit for tat kind of approach, which again, it does nobody any good. It's like fighting over your favorite flavor of ice cream. Who cares? Who cares, really? What,
Love
like,
it. Love it.
even if I convince you that chocolate is the best flavor ever, have I really changed your mind? Or are you just saying, fine, chocolate's the best because you're just tired of arguing? So yeah. Stop. I think listen and engage people that you think have different mindsets. In many cases, I think you find that people aren't all that different. They may express themselves differently, they may choose different words, but at the heart of it, there's not a lot of difference between people. Left leaning people, right leaning people. Everybody wants, this is my experience, in general, everybody wants a good outcome for all of those around us. It's just people have a different approach. So again, don't get stuck in the minutia because you don't do any good. You never change someone's mind, and all it does is invite unnecessary stress and angst, into your life. So yeah,
And it's
that's
just a trap.
that's my thought.
Great advice. It's just a trap, and it takes away your valuable time also. What
It
would be the
is.
victories? What would be the victories with aging?
Oh gosh, some of the victories is I haven't completely turned into my father's body when he was 50. I know what he looked like. So that's probably the one victory. And again, it's hard because I like ice cream and candy and all the things that pizza, all the things that everyone else likes. But the fact I haven't turned into my dad is one thing, and I think the other great victory, and this is a victory that allows me to know that I'm providing safety and security for my wife and for my children, as well as myself, is that all of those years of just saving a little bit of my paycheck every month, and squirreling it away in the 401k. It has finally. They talk about the snowball effect. The snowball starts very small and eventually gets bigger. And when you're early on in your life, or you're early on in building that snowball, one additional turn of that snowball only makes a snowball maybe an inch bigger. But when your snowball's this big, one additional turn of the snowball then makes it like 8 to 10 inches bigger. You're just gathering more and more snow with each turn. So the same thing goes with saving. Saving does not have to be complicated. It does not have to be a cryptocurrency. It does not have to be active trading or anything like that. But you have to think about, what would my future self thank me or hate me for the decision I'm about to make? And thankfully, I've had enough of those kind of discussions with myself. Not that I talk to myself excessively, but I've had enough of those discussions with myself to know that squirreling away a little bit of money makes sense. And there were many times in the last 30 years where it was scary, but you keep doing it. Again, it goes back to having faith in doing the right thing. And again, the victory is that retirement is not questionable. Retirement is not, can I retire? Retire is, when do I want to retire and what do I want that retirement to look like? And when you have a couple of nickels squirreled away, suddenly you have a lot of options that you didn't have before. And I think the best part of that is my approach to work, my attitude to work is totally different. Because again, I don't necessarily look for every angle to, will this help me get my next promotion? Because I got to make a little bit more money because I've got this big car payment, or what have you. You don't look at it in that regard. You approach it as more of like, hey, I can kind of really get into what I'm doing. How do I be the best professional I can be, money aside? And so that is also that's been one of the greatest accomplishments. I've been able to save enough that retirement is it's going to happen. And it's allowed me to have a different approach at work, which has kept my stress levels in check. So that's probably the other big victory, I think.
I love your words. When people are younger, like you said, they want to do as much for the future, but then people are so tight with things. So I will glean from an example. I was saving for my daughter's college fund, and you're putting away money every month, every month, every month. And like you, some of those months were tight. The budget was tight, and you're like, gosh, maybe I shouldn't put something in, but you just keep doing it. You'll get through that budget storm, and then you just keep going. And then in 10, 15, 20 years, you're like, wow, that paid off being disciplined. So I love your words.
Yes.
Just staying disciplined at a younger age because you'll get through the storms. And then when you're here, a little older, it pays off for you.
Yep.
What would you like people to say about you at the end of your days?
Oh gosh. The end of my days, I would like people to say uh, that I was helpful, that I was nurturing, that I made people better than they would have otherwise been had they not known me. And I would hope that my kids look back fondly, and my wife looks back fondly at our life together, and says, you know what? I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad I did it with that guy. That's really what I want.
What would your experienced self say to your younger self if you could go back in time?
Don't take things so seriously.
Ah,
Don't
love that.
take things so seriously. Yeah, not every little crisis is a reason to hit the roof, or to reevaluate, or think you need to reevaluate everything. Just be a little bit more go with the flow rather than as uptight. That's probably the best thing I can say, because again, when you are, I've experienced this, and I've done this, and I've also looked back, and I think that's kind of a sign of growth, is when I look back in the rearview mirror and I go, ooh, I was not the best person. That was not the best of me. Yeah, so looking back, if I could maybe just be a little bit more mellow, I think that would have served me well.
Very good. I also wish I was more patient when I was younger. You seem to be in a
Yes.
hurry and a little bit more hot headish and uptight and
Yeah.
you are saying the same message. Just calm the machine down. Everything will be okay. When you get older, you go, that really wasn't a big deal. I made it into a bigger deal than what it was. I saw a couple of
Yep.
documentaries where people were dying, terminal illnesses, and their advice was don't take things so seriously. Those big things you thought were big were just so small. So very
Oh
very good,
yeah.
very good advice.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen people lose their minds over not getting a coupon at the grocery store honored because it was expired, and they're going to just make a big scene and make everybody around them miserable over saving what, 30 cents, on a loaf of bread or whatever. It just, yeah.
Right, you want to walk up to them at that point, just give them the 30 cents and tell them to move on.
Yeah, yeah, you do. You do. And the funny thing is in the moment, it's not about the 30 cents. They have something going on in their lives that is so emotionally painful that they feel like they need to vent and lash out. And unfortunately, in this example, the clerk behind the counter is the one who is taking it. And the person giving it says, you know what? You can't fight back, which is cowardly, frankly. You can't fight back, because if you do, you'll get in trouble. And so a lot of people view this as that opportunity. Um, again, just to lash out. And I think it does speak, if we all kind of take a step back and look at people that are having a really bad day, and look at them through the lens of, you know what, there is this really about that coupon saving 30 cents on the loaf of bread, or is something else happening in their life that really is just so emotionally distressing to them that they're about to snap. And so viewing people that are having those outsized reactions and not reacting to it, or not reacting back, even though you want to grab them by the collar and shake them, be quiet.
Right. Yep.
I think viewing it through a lens of a little bit more understanding will also benefit everyone. And again, going back to the social media, people are on pins and needles. And when you have two people on pins and needles, and they're both looking at an outlet to either own the other person or to just lash out and be mean, those are two people in this example that are really, really hurting. If you want to diffuse it, don't buy into it. Be a little bit more understanding, even right or wrong. Most of the time, and this is also looking back, telling my younger self, be the bigger person, be the bigger man, and don't let it get to you, because it's like you said, it's not important. We think it's important in the moment. None of it's important.
Sounds familiar with the recent Oscars incidents. Sounds like there was more in that person's brain at the time than the actual incident. And that person just snapped, and it could have been handled backstage. Hey, don't talk about my woman this way, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, but I do think that you bring up a really good point. Is so I'm going to adjust my earbuds a little bit. You make a really good point. Uh, uh, People on the outside might look like they are put together. Wow, if I could only be like that person, my life would be great. And we don't have any idea what's actually happening on the inside. And in many cases, just it's a facade. We all put on our if we're honest with each other, if we're honest with ourselves, we all put on a facade to a certain degree. And the facade, like even if I'm having a really bad day, when I'm on the phone with a client or my boss, everything's sunny. I'm doing awesome, even though maybe everything's not awesome. So when we look at people that look like they're having the best time of their life, and this again, social media looks like they're having the best time of life, and we feel bad because they're having more fun than I am, and I'm pissed about it. We really don't know what's actually happening in their life. People are hurting in different ways. We just can't necessarily see it. So
Very
again,
good.
it goes back to don't take things too seriously.
Exactly. When we ask each other, how you doing? And we all say the same thing. Oh, great, fine. No, none of us are doing great and fine. We all have our daily hiccups, bumps, mistakes, fears, frustrations, etc.
Yeah, yep.
How do you
It's the
balance?
human condition.
There you go. Last few questions. How do you balance your career and your personal life?
These days it's hard because I am working from home. I intend to be back in the office here in a couple of weeks, at least a few days a week, hopefully full time, just to see how things progress. But that's probably the hardest part. Is you've got the constant uh, tug and pull in both directions from the needs of your family, which, by the way, should take priority, and the needs of work. And so sometimes you just have to. Again, I go back to my wife, who kind of keeps me centered. Sometimes I need her to kind of step in and kind of say, "Hey, you're not paying enough attention to this side of the equation. You need to log off your computer and spend some time with your kids, or come down and have dinner, or whatever. Let's go for a walk. Let's take the dog for a walk, whatever it happens to be." But it's hard. I don't really have a great answer for that, because sometimes when I'm in the mood to either be with friends or with my family, maybe they don't have time for me. And in other times, when they want to be engaged with me, maybe I'm knee deep in a big project at work. So it's a challenge. But constantly reminding ourselves of what's truly important in life is a great way to, I think, uh, help you strike that balance. Whether it be, yeah, set an alarm clock, and hey, when it's 5 o'clock, when the alarm clock goes off, I'm done. I'm done for the day. And it doesn't mean that we cut our day short. It doesn't mean that we don't give 100% effort. But it's not unreasonable to tell your employer, I'm done for the day. I've given you all my time I can today. I'm going to go recharge and refresh and be with my friends and family. I think that's okay. And I don't think a lot of people feel empowered to do that these days, which is unfortunate. Um, but yeah, it's a battle. It's a battle for me, as I think it is for most people.
Thank you for your honesty. Making it happen, finding the time, just like you said, having a schedule. 5 o'clock, the machine's off. I'm family man now. And like you said, giving your 100% before from 9 to 5, and being okay with that, and saying, guess what? No one's going to sneak into my office tonight and steal my work or do my work. It will be there tomorrow.
Yep. Yep.
Final
All this
advice.
glory.
What's that?
I say all the glory will be there waiting for me in the morning.
All the glory. I love that.
Yep.
Final thoughts, final advice, anything you want to add?
I think kind of to loop it back around where we started, the three most important things that I think that I would want everyone to know is one, take care of your health. Two, uh, save like you're going to live a really long time. And three, make sure that you make enough time for your friends and family because that's ultimately what matters. Having a new iPhone every time they release one doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Having the nicest car in the parking lot, nobody cares. They really don't. Nobody cares. Driving around with things that we can barely afford to impress people that don't know us, and all they're trying to do is impress us, and we don't care. We don't even notice because we're too busy trying to impress them. It's a great waste of time and resources. So, it is family. I'll probably put this in a slightly different order. The number one thing is family and friends, your relationships. That's the number one thing. The second most important thing is your health, because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And the third is make sure that you save enough. Like, make sure that you make your future self happy that you did something today. And the only way to do that is to delay your spending, to delay your gratification. Even in the scariest of times, you have to squirrel away some money um, to retire on. And it happens again and again. If you look at the numbers of people that retire or try to retire and their only source of income is Social Security, that's a big portion of society. And, if we kind of step into the Wayback Machine, Social Security was never meant to be a national pension plan. When they rolled out Social Security, and I think the age was like, I don't know, like 62 or 63 when you could first start collecting it. Back then, most people, the mortality rate was like 61. Like nobody was living that long. So it was like, hey, no, we've got this great plan, but no one's going to live that long statistically. And so the money's really not there. It's not a lot, and people I think discount, like you said, how quickly life catches up to you. So save live a little for today, save a little for tomorrow, and quit worrying about impressing people that don't care at all about you.
Awesome, excellent advice. So be a positive you, and especially watch out for that health. Our bodies will decline, but when it gets to that point, we want to be as healthy as possible. There's a lot of doctors that say this person survived because they worked out, they walked every day or every other day. They were healthier and they were healthy, and it helped them to survive and give their family another 5, 10 years. Thank you,
Yep.
thank you, thank you. I think your words were on point. Excellent advice for our audience, Mr. Judd Wagner. Please stay. I want to talk to you offline, and so I'm going to close
Okay.
this out. Again, thank you for joining me in your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.